The Velcor station hung in the void like a massive steel flower, its petals housing thousands of species from across the Galactic Federation. Commander Zethra, a towering Kryn with scales that shimmered like oil on water, stood in the observation deck, watching the newest arrivals disembark. Among them was the human, the first of her kind to serve on this station. Nyla walked with the casual confidence that Zethra had come to associate with humans in the database files. She was small by galactic standards, her frame barely reaching the chest plates of most species. Her dark hair was pulled back, and her eyes scanned the bustling docking bay with practiced efficiency. "Welcome to Velcor Station," Zethra rumbled, extending a clawed hand. "I am Commander Zethra. You must be Specialist Nyla." "That's me," Nyla said, her grip firm despite the size difference. "Looking forward to working here." Zethra had heard stories about humans, their unexpected durability, their strange emotional connections, their bizarre death worlds. But nothing prepared him for what happened 3 cycles later. The cubs arrived on a transport from the Rhinoth system. 12 of them, fuzzy and awkward, their oversized ears twitching at every sound. They were the children of diplomats, here for a cultural exchange program. The station's staff had prepared extensively, setting up a secure nursery and assigning round-the-clock guards. Nyla happened to be passing through the nursery wing when one cub, Taro, the smallest of the group, wandered too close to a service panel and reached for the exposed wiring. "Hey there, little one," Nyla said softly, crouching down. Her voice carried none of the harsh edges common in Federation standard. Taro's large eyes fixed on her, ears folding back slightly in uncertainty. Nyla extended her hand slowly. "Palm up. Those wires aren't toys. Come here. Okay?" She scooped the cub up carefully, cradling him against her chest. Taro made a small, chittering sound, tiny claws gripping her uniform. "Be gentle," Nyla whispered, more to herself than to Taro. As the cub's claws caught in the fabric, she carefully extracted each tiny digit. "There we go. You're okay." She didn't notice the other cubs watching. She didn't see the attendant, Rhinoth elder, Tashara, frozen in the doorway. What Nyla couldn't know was that Rhinoth cubs were born with an instinct hardwired into their neural pathways, the ability to detect genuine protective intent. It was a survival mechanism from their predatory homeworld, where distinguishing between threat and guardian meant life or death. When Nyla whispered, "Be gentle," something activated in every cub, within hearing range. By the next cycle, station security was baffled. "Sir, the cubs are following her," Lieutenant Voss reported, his multiple eye stalks blinking in confusion. "They've been stationed outside her quarters since 0600 hours. Zethra pulled up the security feed. Indeed, all 12 cubs sat in a neat formation outside Nyla's door, their tails curled around their feet, perfectly still. When Nyla emerged for her shift, the cubs immediately fell in line behind her, maintaining a precise 3-step distance. She looked down at them, confused. Shouldn't you guys be in the nursery?" Taro chirped once. The others remained silent. Tashara appeared, moving with the fluid grace of her species. "Specialist Nyla, may I speak with you?" "Of course. Is something wrong with the cubs?" The elder's whiskers twitched in what might have been amusement. "On the contrary, they have bonded with you. When you spoke those words to Taro, 'Be gentle,' you triggered something profound. In our culture, those words are spoken only by true guardians. The cubs have recognized you as such, but I'm not. They don't care what you are." Tashara interrupted gently. "They care what you did. You showed genuine care without expectation. That is rarer than you might think. Afterwise. That's one." The situation escalated quickly. During a station-wide security drill, the cubs refused to move to the designated shelter zones. They stayed with Nyla, forming a protective circle around her. When a senior officer tried to manually relocate them, Taro bit him not hard enough to injure, but enough to communicate displeasure. "This is unprecedented," Zethra said, during the emergency council meeting. The cubs are ignoring direct commands from their own species elders. They only respond to the human. 70. It's worse than that, Tashara added. According to Rhinoth law, once cubs have selected a guardian, that guardian is granted provisional custody authority. In our hierarchy, that places Specialist Nyla above any officer below the rank of commander for decisions involving the cubs' welfare. Zethra's scales rippled. You're telling me a junior specialist now outranks half my station? In matters concerning the cubs, yes. Nyla sat in her quarters that evening. 12 cubs curled around her in a fuzzy pile. Taro had claimed the spot directly on her lap, his purring vibration oddly soothing. I just told you to be gentle, she murmured, scratching behind his ears. I didn't mean to start a diplomatic incident, her comm chirped. It was Zethra. Specialist. We need to discuss your new responsibilities. Over the following weeks, Velcor Station adapted. Nyla's shifts were restructured to accommodate cub care. Her quarters were expanded. She was given a security detail not for her protection, but to protect anyone who might accidentally upset the cubs. The most dramatic change came during a trade negotiation with the Hexar Collective. A Hexar diplomat raised his voice at a junior officer, his species' natural aggression surfacing. The cubs, positioned around Nyla during the meeting, immediately stood and hissed in perfect unison. The room fell silent. The Hexar diplomat paled an impressive feat for a species with purple skin. I meant no disrespect. Taro stepped forward, positioning himself between Nyla and the diplomat. His tiny frame was utterly non-threatening, but the message was clear. Tashara leaned over to Zethra. The cubs have declared her pack. Anyone who threatens her, threatens them, and by extension, threatens the Rhinoth diplomatic corps. Zethra's laugh rumbled through his chest. So the human whispered 2 words, and accidentally became one of the most protected individuals on this station. Humans, Tashara said, whiskers twitching in amusement, have a talent for the unexpected. Nyla, oblivious to the diplomatic implications, simply smiled down at Taro. Come on, little guy. Let's get you all some dinner. The cubs followed, as they always did. And half the station quietly made way for the procession, not because of fear, but because of something humanity had carried across the stars, the simple, profound ability to care.